welcome to a very special edition of even more unseen clips from this series of Would I Lie to You? Joining Lee Mack tonight, Greg Davis, Henning Vane, Simon Day, Dr. Ranj Singh, Asim Chowdhury and Claire Balding. And joining David Mitchell tonight are Victoria Coren-Mitchell, Stephen Merchant, Claudia Winkleman, Daz Khan, Liz Bonin, Kiri Pritchard-McLean, Gabby Logan, Joe Brand and Greg James. And so we begin with round one, Home Truths, where our panellists read out a statement from the card in front of them. To make things harder, they've never seen the card before. They've no idea what they'll be faced with. It's up to the opposing team to sort the fact from the fiction. Victoria, you're first up tonight.
I was once unable to wave at Prince Charles because I was holding a wounded seagull.
Please, team.
Is that your nickname for David?
I think it might be.
First of all, why were you holding a wounded seagull?
I was taking it to a vet.
Right.
Can I ask, where was this and what was the event that Prince Charles was attending?
It was in London. I saw him out of the window of my car.
You were driving?
Initially, the seagull was on the passenger seat.
Right.
But it got a bit jumpy.
I've seen you drive.
So I picked it up because I was worried it would flap around the car.
So basically you're driving like Rod Hull?
It was wrapped in a blanket.
Why did you have an injured seagull in your car?
I'd seen an injured seagull in the road.
Yeah.
And I picked it up to take it to a vet. Prince Charles was standing on the steps of a town hall, a grand building, and he waved, I suppose...
He waved at you?
Well, I think he was waving more generally. I felt I should wave, but that would have required letting go of the seagull.
Did the seagull get treated by the vet? Did the seagull recover? Do you know where the seagull is now?
To keep in touch. He's here tonight.
The vet practice accepted the seagull for treatment. I don't know what became of it.
And then you just left him there?
Yes.
Well, let me tell you what happened to that seagull.
Don't say
Before
that.
you'd got back into your car... Sorry, that was a duck.
Can I just ask you a question? Have you hosted a light entertainment programme before?
They were very nice about it. I said I found this little creature in the road. I let them keep the blanket.
How sentimental was the blanket?
Not very.
So what does David hold now when he's stressed?
Have you always had a soft spot for wounded animals?
Yes.
All right. What do you think, Asim? Is she telling the truth?
I kind of want to believe it because it's a lovely story, but I don't know.
If he really waved at her, she's dropping the seagull, she's waving back. So at least she'd have lifted the seagull a bit and gone...
Going, look, can't wave, seagull.
Don't worry, it's not a swan.
So what's it going to be, Lee?
So it's a lie.
You're going to say it's a lie. OK. Victoria, were you just telling us the truth, or were you telling us a lie?
It was true.
Whoa! It's Greg.
I was once dragged into the headmaster's office after I was caught leaning out of a window and firing a cream egg into my friend's mouth with a catapult.
Was this when you were a teacher or a pupil?
I'm ashamed to say it was when I was a teacher.
So, can you describe the setup?
I was teaching in a drama studio on the ground floor, and I could see my friend who was teaching economics on the second floor at the end of the building.
So it's a cross. Is there like a courtyard in between?
Yeah, playground.
Playground. And...
You went to different schools, didn't you? Did the moat not get in the way, or was it... Right, goody, the bell's Mum's gone, let's go to the courtyard.
Okay, You're firing over the croquet lawn.
I'd confiscated a catapult that morning from a child.
Okay.
I was in my drama studio. There's an office. I closed the door and let the children do whatever they used to do in my lessons. And I hung out of the window. I saw my friend, Gavin.
Yeah.
And I went... It was the height of summer.
Right.
So Gavin is in the middle of an economics lesson, and he goes, "Oh, there's my friend. Gosh, he's holding an unwrapped cream egg." And he goes...
It wasn't quite that instinctive. I waved the catapult at him, and he was baffled at first. And then I could see him distracting his children by setting them some mundane task. Then I revealed the unpeeled egg.
Which, by now, by the way, hashtag height of summer, melting. They melt very fast.
Here's the thing, Claudia. I genuinely had a mini fridge in my office because... I did, because I regularly abused the drama budget. I'm sorry, but I was very bored. I bought a mini fridge. And just to add colour, I'll tell you this, I bought a top-of-the-range DVD player and I swapped it for one that my grandmother had given me. Took a really nice one home. Separate story.
Can we say that we believe that story?
That's true story. I've got a technical question about the window.
Yeah.
Good.
Because in schools, windows only open to a very small certain point, so the kids can't jump
Especially
out.
on the second floor.
Wow, how rough was the old school that you
Bad,
taught?
really bad.
You couldn't only in case they jumped out.
Yeah, just in case they jumped out and drowned in the moat. So basically, that window will only open to a certain point.
Yes, right.
The window did only open half, so Gav had to get on his knees and position his head. His head virtually filled the amount of window that was open. It was a slide-up window.
Where was the headmaster at this point? Walking through playground/courtyard?
He was in his office, I imagine, pretending to do work.
Oh.
And here is the thing that will convince you one way or the other straight away. Gavin... I would say it was 25 foot, and Gavin did catch it in his mouth.
What are they clapping?
You lot are going to feel so stupid if that's a lie.
What do you think, David's team? Does it ring true for you?
I do believe the lie is being packaged with real stuff. So, confiscation of
The mini fridge is true.
Yeah.
True. The confiscation, yeah.
everything around the lie is true, but the lie is still a lie.
OK, let's go. Let's go.
We'll go lie.
You're saying it's a lie. Greg, was it the truth or was it a lie?
There were elements of truth, but yes, damn you, it was a lie.
It's Lee.
Because I'm so scared of cutting my fingernails, once a month I'll have a large glug of night nurse and ask my wife to do it while I'm asleep.
David's team.
Why are you so frightened of cutting your fingernails?
Because when I was a child, my granddad was cutting my fingernails and it flew off and it went in my eye, the fingernail, and I had to go to A&E because he couldn't get it out. Ever since then, I've been too scared.
People get specks of dust out of their eye. How did a fingernail?
My granddad fought in the war and sadly only had a thumb and one finger. Just enough to use a pair of scissors, but not enough to then start getting things out of eyes.
So he'd lost three fingers on each hand.
He lost 5 fingers on this hand, 3 fingers on this hand, and just those 2 fingers.
Right. That's all he had.
And his name was Edward, and you wouldn't believe what his nickname was.
Quite hard to hold scissors with just 2 fingers, isn't
I know,
it?
the man was a genius.
In between the incident with Grandad, which was when you were a child, should we say 8 or 9?
Is that what you want?
How old were you with the incident as a child?
8 or
15, 16?
8 or 10 I was.
OK, 8 or 10.
OK.
And then the next person to cut your nails was your wife. Did you meet her at 11? 12?
I can't remember the time.
I'm guessing in your 20s.
yeah,
Who cut your nails for 13 years, Lee?
My mum used to cut my fingernails for me till till I was quite old.
With the night nurse?
No, just her.
Did the night nurse solution immediately present itself, or did that come later?
No, my mum... look, I don't want to get my wife jealous. You know what they're like with mothers and stuff. My mother had a more gentle touch. She was able to cut my fingers in a way that wasn't traumatic.
Not your fingers, your fingernails.
Yeah.
Well, did I just say fingers?
Yes.
Oh, well, I'm sorry, Rob.
I have to say that would be a remarkably gentle touch if you could actually cut your fingers off.
Yeah.
I mean, she would have been the surgeon of her generation. You know, they didn't need anaesthetic with her because it's so silky with the scalpel work.
My fingernails, you cut my fingernails very gently.
Yeah.
You know, you've met my wife. She's got massive brutish hands. And she hasn't got that delicate touch. You remember when she met you last time and she sort of gripped you by the hand and you fainted?
Yes.
I know, Rob.
What about your previous girlfriends?
It's fair to say, in my younger days, that some of the girlfriends had daintier hands than others. The night nurse started on about girlfriend number 3, I think it was. Girlfriend number 2 was using chloroform. She was particularly brutish. One of them took me to the vets.
What are you thinking, David?
For me, it's the things that he said that aren't believable. I think if I had to pin it down, it would be all of the things that he said.
After he'd read the card.
Yes. We're going to go lie.
OK, so they think it's a lie. Lee, were you telling the truth or was it a lie?
It is, in fact, a lie.
Claudia, it's your turn.
OK. To give myself 15 minutes peace, I once put my child on one end of a seesaw and a bag of potatoes on the other.
Right. When was this?
A while back. He was 3.
So he was 3?
Yes. I mean, I like them, don't get me wrong, but I'm not good in a playground.
It was in a playground?
Yeah.
Why did you take the potatoes to the playground?
Because Because it was... Don't worry, everyone. No, because it was in the countryside. There's potatoes everywhere. There's just stuff.
It wasn't a shop-bought bag of potatoes. You just gathered wild potatoes.
It was shop. It was a farm shop, Bedfordshire, where my Aunt Bridget lives. I'm not lying. Find her. And...
Claudia, you are lying, aren't you?
No. It's not that.
How many times did this happen,
It's like
Claudia?
a sack.
How many
Happened
times?
all weekend, from the moment we got there for a 70th until we left on a Sunday afternoon.
Isn't the fun of a seesaw that there is continual movement?
There was continual movement.
How? Because
so he would
potatoes are famously static.
No, he would kick off with his thing, it would go down, then it was slowly... and giggling, chop, mama, clapping, well, not clapping hands, hold on!
How far...
That's how he sounds.
How far would you push this? Like, were you and your other half, were you, like, thinking, well, we could go out tonight to Wetherspoons and have a drink? No. We can't leave him on his own. Don't worry, we'll leave him with the potatoes.
There were loads of us, and
why don't you get one of them to go on the seesaw?
Because no adult can get in the seesaw. It's that size.
It's getting smaller.
And whatever it is.
What I'm hearing is there's not one member of your family that wants to play with your child. And so you had to create a friend in a sack of potatoes.
No.
So what do you think, Lee?
I felt bad.
What's your team thinking?
What do we think?
I go for true.
Do you? Really? Did you hear the story? I mean...
Can I chip in on this?
Don't say chip in. It's,
yeah. I don't believe it for a second. And I'll tell you why. Is because I don't believe that Claudia would be sufficiently bored by her child to stick some potatoes on a seesaw. I think she would be fully engaged with that child.
It's interesting because I think it's truthful because she strikes me as phenomenally sort of neglectful.
Yeah.
No, it was
Lucy.
only the seesaw. Everything else, I used to lick him to sleep.
Lick him to sleep?
What's it going to be?
I think Claudia's a good mum, so I'm going to say it's a lie.
I think it's true. And
All right.
There's no such thing as a good mum and a bad mum. There are mums who have good days and there are mums who have bad days.
Yeah, and I'll...
Come on.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Lucy, let me tell you a few things about my mum. She once sat me down in a chair, Cigarette in one hand, glass of wine in the other. She said, son, there's something I need to tell you. That's not your real dad. And she pointed to a large sack of potatoes. Now tell me that's not bad parenting. We're going to say you are lying.
They're saying it's a lie. Claudia.
Please be a lie. Please be a lie.
It is a lie.
Oh. I'm so pleased.
Kiri, you're next.
I always answer the front door with a spanner in my hand, so if it's someone I don't want to talk to, I can tell them that I'm busy fixing the sink.
Please do.
Why don't you just not answer it? That's what I do.
Oh, because it might be someone that I want to see.
Do you have a lot of people just popping round?
Yeah, I live on a terrace street, so there's all sorts of rough stuff happening.
Can you give me an example of someone you wouldn't want to see?
Next door, but two.
Well, you're saying that on national television. But hey, it could be either way.
Yeah.
Unless you live at the end, you've had it.
So what sort of thing would they be asking for?
Sometimes they knock on and they want to know if their child is in my house.
What makes them think that you might have their kid?
Because their children are everywhere all the time and they get into the back. We've all got, we share a ginnel and they get into the backyards.
Do you have a technique, David, if people ever come to your house and you're concerned that it might not be somebody you want to entertain?
I wouldn't believe you if you had a spanner, let's put it that way.
I don't own any tools.
No, but what do you do?
I have quite an off-putting presence.
If you had a quill... You came to the door with a quill.
With a quill?
I said, I'm busy. Fair enough, David, got it.
I'd love to let you in, but I'm a ghost.
Joe, how do you see off unwanted callers?
I just say, I've just wet myself. Can you give me a hand?
That sees them off.
Do you live with anybody? Do you live alone?
No, I live with my partner.
So there's two of you?
Yeah.
So they're always thinking, why is it always her that has to fix the sink?
What do you mean?
Why can't you mix up sink fixing?
Because I'm a feminist.
But,
get with it, Lee.
But a feminist should be fixing the sink 50% of the time.
We still get paid 25% less for it. It's unbelievable.
So what are we thinking, Simon?
I think it's a lie.
Why?
Just from what she's told us over the...
I don't think it's
you don't think it's true? OK, well, I don't think it's true either, then.
Kiri, were you telling the truth, or was it a lie?
It is a lie.
Liz, you're next.
OK. I once had to present a segment of Blue Planet Live with one arm hidden behind my back because my hand was stuck in a tube of Pringles.
Please, team.
When was this?
This was a couple of months ago.
Oh, recently, then?
Yeah.
And where were you?
We were on Heron Island in Australia. And I was sent to Heron to present all the stories about the coral reefs and the seabirds and the sea turtles.
Were there any seals on the island?
No.
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 Okay, so before we carry on, why is that relevant?
Because Sharon may like seals. That's a perfectly good question.
Were there any penguins there?
No.
Do you mean the biscuits or the...
So you're about to go on live television and you're eating some Pringles?
Well, the reason why I was telling...
Once you pop, you can't stop. Although, if that's the case, why is there a resealable lid?
Anyway, of course, as I'm sure you know, there are lots of brands of crisps. Sorry, Liz, go on.
You're never really told exactly when you're going back on air. So, OK, coming to you, Liz, and I had to go like this.
So you had your hand was in it and you couldn't... Really?
Yeah. Have you ever tried, that if you get two of them like that and you put it here...
And you're like a platypus. Yes.
So how long did you have to keep the hand hidden?
Not that long, because I threw to a VT So you go, welcome back to hair and da-da-da. And earlier we did this, take a look at this.
Right.
Throw to VT, lose the crisps.
Did it just fly off when you went like that?
Yeah.
Oh, it just came off quite easily.
No, I didn't.
Because a minute ago, it was stuck. Now it's just flying off when you want it to come off.
And now it's bobbing around in the Pacific.
You didn't just sort of...
A couple of dead seabirds in it now.
Moments after we did a piece about plastic.
Range, what are you thinking?
I think it's a lie purely because you're so professional.
That's why.
don't think you would be eating crisps so close to transmission.
When you make a lot of TV, we know you can get to the point where you sort of lose respect for the whole...
Pretty much.
What
he said.
You get to the point where you don't really...
Sharon, does this strike you as true?
I haven't got any trousers on.
And guess what? It's stuck in a tube of Pringles.
That's the nicest thing you've ever said.
What do you think, Sharon? Is it true?
No.
Well, I'll go with my team and say it's a lie, then.
You say it's a lie? OK, Liz, was it a lie or were you telling the truth?
It actually was a lie.
It's Lee.
11 years ago, I did a very bad thing in the kitchen. The time has finally come to confess all to my wife.
David's team.
What did you do?
I broke a cooking pot that you bake chickens in. You roast chickens in.
Okay.
Chicken pot.
What was so special about the chicken pot?
Good question, Greg.
Thank you.
Any ideas?
Was it a wedding present?
It wasn't a wedding present. No, it was terracotta.
Yeah.
And it's got a lid on it.
Heavy.
Yeah, it's pretty deep, man.
Yeah.
No, it genuinely is. It's about that deep, isn't it? And you put the lid on. And the thing about these terracotta pots is you're not supposed to wash them. The pot absorbs the flavour over the years. I had about an hour before she was coming home, and I knew she would not be happy about this, so I raced to the local kitchen shop and fortunately got the exact same pot.
How many
I had
years?
about half an hour to age it.
How many years had the previous one been aging?
Oh, 7 years.
So you had to do 7 years worth of casseroling?
Yeah.
In half
an hour.
In half an hour?
No, I had to make it look like it was weathered.
How did you do that?
First of all, I put a bit of soil on it. Then I put Marmite on, and then baked it very quickly on a high heat, and then scraped the Marmite off. Then I got sandpaper, a bit of sandpaper on it.
All this in the half an hour?
Unbelievable speed.
Before she got home?
When she arrived home, did she suspect anything?
Well, I was with another woman in bed, but apart from that...
How did you break it?
Well, I was fixing something with a screwdriver, and I got in a bad mood and I threw the screwdriver down.
You threw a screwdriver so hard that it shattered an ancient cooking pot.
Didn't shatter it. Cracked. And it's not ancient, but the word pot was correct in that
Did you
sense.
say you...
I threw it down, it bounced, and it just chipped it a bit, but it was enough to make my wife... She would have noticed that chip.
So, you said...
Just let me have a drink and have a think about this. I'm not even married.
Why did you feel that a 7-year-old cooking pot had so much sentimental value for your wife that it was worth all this trouble?
Oh, did I not mention her grandmother's ashes inside? Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, no, that's quite relevant. Sorry, I forgot that. Yeah.
Did you also burn another old lady?
All right, it's time to decide. Victoria?
I have met Lee's wife. She's an extremely sophisticated and nuanced woman with many interests. I don't think she'll be so...
Whoa. What do you mean, many interests? What do you know that I don't?
What
are you
can't
saying?
believe that a 7-year-old pot would loom so large that you would feel unable to tell
That's because
her.
when you come round to my house and you're with my wife and we're having dinner, she's pleasant and she's nice. She's lovely. She's calm. And the second we wave you off, bye. See, this has been lovely. Close that door. She goes, you embarrass me again. With your TV friends. That posh one with the beard kept staring at me. And I didn't like her husband either.
OK, I've got a couple of extra questions.
Oh, Lord.
What, you say it wasn't cracked, it was just chipped?
It was...
Was it usable?
Yes, it was definitely usable.
You would have been able to say, I'm really sorry I've chipped it, but the thing that you so love about it, all this accumulated flavour, is still there. It's not affected by a tiny chip.
There's a tiny bit missing. And actually, apparently, all the flavour comes from the sweet spot. And that's what had gone.
Where was
I remember as it chipped off, I went, smelt the pot, nothing. I took this little piece of it. Wow.
Even though the functionality of the pot is unaffected, you thought she'd be so furious at superficial damage to it.
Not superficial.
It is superficial.
No, it isn't superficial. I haven't told you the size of the chip, have I?
No.
OK. You just simulated it. You went like that.
Yeah, but you don't know how I'm holding it. I'm holding it at the edge of... at the edge of it. It goes round here. I'm holding it, you see.
All right, David, it's time to get a grip and make a decision.
So the flight of the screwdriver...
Can I just the pot was ruined, David. That's all you need to know.
Well, yeah, but when you said...
Let it go, David! Yeah. Do you know what? I wish I'd have taken my chances with my wife at the time. This is unbearable!
Right. It is time to decide.
Second question.
No.
What did you do with the damaged pot?
I hid it to begin with, and then over the next couple of days, when she wasn't looking, I slowly
dragged it towards the door.
I moved it very slowly.
Because she only notices things when they move.
Yes.
She's Tyrannosaurus Rex.
She would be sat there with a glass of water watching the television. I would come down with a step and she'd see the water shimmer like that. What are you doing? Nothing got it!
So, David, it's time to decide.
Yeah.
Was Lee telling the truth?
Well, what do you think?
I think it's a lie.
What do you think?
It can't be true.
I think it might be true, but I'm not going to overrule my team. We'll go lie.
Lee, were you telling the truth or were you telling the lie?
I'm sorry, my dear. It's true.
Well, that's all we got time for on this special edition of Would I Lie to You. Thanks very much for watching. Good night.